And so he goes on, and he kind of goes off on a tangent. If you're the 12, listen to him. And he says this. He says this, as long as it is day, we must do the works of him who sent me, the Father. Because there is a time that's coming, it's called nighttime, where there's no light. There's a time that is coming that is night. And when it gets to be night, what? We can work no longer. You say, well, that's interesting. Come on, Jesus, you just changed the subject. We were talking about a blind man. We were talking about why he was born blind. And now you're talking about day and night, light and darkness. And he goes on and he says one of the most arrogant things that he's ever said, craziest things if he's not the Son of God that he's ever stated. Look at what he says this. He says, while I am in the world, I am the light of the world. So essentially what he's saying is, hey guys, the light's only here for a moment. The darkness is coming. And I want you to understand, he is putting himself as the revelation of God the Father to the world. I am the light. In other words, you're at 3 a.m. and you're going to stump your feet because you don't have any light. You're in the darkness in the forest and you need to have some light in front of you so you'll know where to go. You need to understand, Jesus would say, that what I'm saying right now, Matthew, Mark, and Luke that are with me, I need you to write this stuff down, guys. John, I need you to get this down. Why? Because I am the revelation sent by the Father to you so you can understand who the Father is. And so the importance of what Jesus is saying, I am the light of the world here, is this. First of all, he's about to heal a blind man that's never seen light. Secondly, he is saying, hey, this is why it's important that you read your Bible. This is why if Jesus is truly the revelation, the words and works that he did while he was on earth, you need to understand. They wrote it down so that we would understand who God is and who the Son is. So we need to read it. We need to understand it. And this is why there have been some people who have never followed Jesus before, never become a Christian, and they start reading the Bible and their lives get changed. And they start reading and they can't put it down. They want to know more and more because they sense he really is the light. And so he goes on and he does something to show what revelation he really is. This is an amazing miracle. Look at this, verse 6. And so he's there with the blind man, and after he said this, he spits on the ground and he makes with the dirt some mud, and then he puts it on the blind man's eyes. Now, I mean, can you imagine if you're the blind man's standing there, you're like, whoa, what are you doing? I mean, that's a very intimate thing. I mean, I tried to put sunscreen on our little baby on Friday and, just trying to gently do it. And, it's a very sensitive area of the face, right? And so he says this, after he puts the mud on his eyes, hey, I want you to go to the pool of Siloam and I want you to wash there. And so the man, it's very simple. Jesus commands it and the man does it. And he goes to the pool of Siloam and he washes and he comes back home healed. Now this is where the story kind of picks up steam here, because here you have a man who now has never seen before, has been cast out of the society, that has been sitting beside the side of the road begging all of his life, and suddenly he's healed. And so verse 8, we pick up, this is amazing, the consequences of this healing. His neighbors and those who periodically, who regularly were familiar with him, who saw him begging, they said, isn't this the man who sits and begs? I mean, they're trying to figure out who in the world is this guy. I mean, he just went to this pool and came home. He can see now. I mean, he's walking down the street. I mean, he's talking to people. And he's not just sitting there. Nobody's leading him. He is walking and doing his own deal. And so some of them said, oh, whoa. No, yes, that's the man. And others of them says, no, that's not him. He just looks like him. He just kind of resembles him. He kind of seems to be the guy, but he's not really the guy. And so they come up to him. They kind of talk about him and stuff. And they come up to him. And then they say to him, they say, listen, is this the guy? Are you the guy? He says, absolutely. The man insisted, I am the man. And so they ask a question. This is an important question. Look at what they ask. They said, well, how then were your eyes open? And he gives a very simple answer. He says, the man they called Jesus, clarity, he never saw Jesus. He heard Jesus people around him. He knew that it was Jesus who was putting the mud on his eyes. And so this man, Jesus, he made mud and put it on my eyes and told me to go wash. So I went to the pool and I washed and I could see.